She said, Gary is in the burn pile. No, she said, he is in the burn pile.
He's in the burn pile. When Melody Farris's lover, Rusty Barton, said those 5 words to detectives, he blew the investigation wide open. Rusty claimed Melody told him that key phrase the night her husband, Gary Ferris, was killed. Here's Detective Daniel Hayes.
Rusty claimed that his response to her was, "Don't tell me nothing else."
Now, Rusty eventually recants this story, correct?
He does.
But he waits almost a year to do it.
He does.
Back on July 24th, 2018, Rusty had agreed to secretly record his calls with Melody. But detectives discovered Rusty shared that secret with Melody, tipping her off. They had continued seeing each other for almost a year after Gary was murdered, and Rusty was with her when she turned herself in.
When we arrested her, she was actually up in Tennessee spending time with him. We knew Rusty was still with her and spending time with her, so we went back up to interview him, and that's when he told us. He was like, "Oh, by the way, I was wrong. She told me this in person a few days past that."
I was wrong. After her arrest, Rusty took back his dramatic story. He now told investigators that Melody said those words after Gary's murder investigation had started. But during that year, they had talked many times together.
Every day.
Two people who were in love with each other and planning a life.
Yes, they were planning a life together.
Could Melody have influenced Rusty to change his tune? Whatever the case, Detective Hayes was sure Melody was Gary's killer.
She was the only person that had motive. I think motive was a big part of this case.
According to Detective Hayes, Melody stood to inherit millions. But aside from family accusations and Rusty's original story, what evidence made detectives so sure? And just how did a petite woman like Melody move Gary Ferris's 300-pound body from their home to the burn pile some 50 yards away? I'm Peter Van Sant. From 48 Hours, this is Blood is Thicker, The Ferris Wheel. Episode 5, You're Gonna Hang Me.
Peter, I want to show you some evidence.
All right, let's go take a look. Where are we? What is this lot back here?
This is part of the Sheriff's Office evidence unit. This is our outside impound lot where we store, large pieces of equipment or vehicles.
Back in 2024, Detective Daniel Hayes walked me out to the Cherokee County impound lot, where they keep seized property held as evidence for investigations.
Right over here, Peter, this is what we're looking at, these 2 vehicles.
Hayes led me toward a small orange tractor and a red 2-seat RTV, rough terrain vehicle. They're 2 vehicles used on the Ferris family farm. These are the 2 vehicles that for years people have wondered, was one of these used to move Gary Ferris's body to that burn pile?
That's correct.
And what did you learn when your forensic people took a look at these 2 vehicles?
When they took a look at them, they found evidence of blood on both of them.
He pointed to where they found the speck of blood they tested. Investigators got a match. It was Gary Ferris's blood. So what does that suggest to you?
Tells me that Gary was bleeding and he was on or around the tractor.
Then we checked out the RTV. And where was the blood found on this vehicle?
On the RTV, we found blood in several spots. There was blood found on the shifter, evidence of blood on the tailgate in the back.
Now that's intriguing. Blood in 2 different places. Was this Gary's blood?
The blood on the shifter was Melody's blood.
Detective Hayes said they never tested the blood on the tailgate. He explained that even the sheriff's office has a tight budget, and those tests and the products needed to do them can be expensive. But was there any evidence that Melody used the RTV to move Gary's body?
This family has utilized both of those machines to move dead horses, pull stumps out of the ground. So anyone who's been on the property that saw knew the capabilities of these machines.
And she could handle both of these? She knew how to use the machinery, both of these machines?
She could, and she, not only did other family members tell us that she has driven and operated both, she admitted that she drives the RTV all the time when Gary's not there and has operated the tractor.
Detective Hayes had a theory that Melody somehow used the tractor and the RTV to lift and move Gary's 300-pound body. How about this RTV? Is this something that would be used to drag a body?
Could be. This RTV has a dump bed on the back of it, a bed that you can put things in to haul them. It's capable, has a very heavy-duty front bumper. It's got a rear bumper that you could attach a strap to, a tow strap or something.
Now, from what I understand, there is no evidence of tire marks that go from the house to the burn pile. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And no evidence of like something being dragged
That's correct.
across the dirt. So this still remains a mystery, doesn't it?
It does. It was days before we got there. So there was plenty of time to rake, cover up whatever, any of that evidence that could have been there.
Hayes also told me other suspicious evidence his team had uncovered, including inside the master bedroom closet.
I actually personally located 2 pairs of shoes. One pair of shoes were interesting because you could see on the bottom where someone had stepped in blood in them. They were smaller size, appeared to be women's shoes.
Detective Hayes concluded they were Melody's shoes. Hayes then turned his attention to the second suspicious pair.
So I had gloves on. I picked up another pair of shoes. I said, man, these are cold feeling compared to the other ones. And it turns out they were wet. They were freshly laundered.
Hayes saw them on a rack and assumed they were left there to dry.
It suggests to me that those pair of shoes likely had some blood on them or some other evidence that someone wanted to, get off of there. But it could also indicate they got dirty working on the farm.
There was one more thing. As Detective Hayes looked through the closet, he checked the dirty clothes hamper and pulled out a small shirt he assumed was Melody's.
But there appears to be dark blood stains on this shirt and what I believe to be a black, almost sooty-looking stain on it.
Testing revealed that the blood found on the shirt and shoes was in fact Melody's, not her husband's. Detective Hayes later said that he thought the blood could have been from when Melody smashed a plate in an argument with Gary, or from when she was working on the farm. He wasn't sure. What detectives did know was where everyone in the family was when they believed Gary was murdered, and who Melody called that night.
Cleanup is for sure in the middle of the night.
One of the Sheriff's Department analysts was able to use the Ferris's phone records to reconstruct the last moments of Gary's life and when his body could have been moved to that burn pile.
In the time frame, the phone moves from the area of the home to the burn pile.
The Cherokee County Sheriff's Office had been collecting and reviewing phone data for weeks.
We had physical phones for Melody Farris, Gary Ferris, Scott Ferris, Rusty Barton.
That's Lindsay Harris, an intelligence analyst with the Sheriff's Office. She took a look through the vast trove of Ferris family texts, calls, emails, and searches. She even got the data from Melody's burner phone, the one she'd been using to talk to Rusty during their affair.
Every device is a little different, but when you do extract the data, you get a good bit of information. A lot of the contents, a lot of the app data, photos, videos, conversations.
Harris looked for patterns and if those patterns changed.
I'll look at patterns of location. Are you in the right place that's normal in your life? Are you calling normal people? Are you calling during normal times of the day? Are you moving at different times of the day that you normally wouldn't?
For instance, Harris discovered how Melody's texts revealed her changing moods during the days leading to Gary's murder.
She's upset about a beach condo that was purchased, and she's very vocal in her messages about that.
Chris had asked Gary to help pay for a beach vacation. Melody texted both of her daughters about it on July 2nd, 2018.
She says, I got Gary's phone. This shows us she has the ability to physically look at his phone and read messages and find out information. And she's not happy about it. She says she's beyond furious. And she talks here with Amanda about how Scott left this morning at 8 and he's gone to play golf again. And, help me God. She's upset about Scott's whereabouts and his activities. And again, it's all about he refuses to help. This is my last straw. I'm taking measures into my own hands.
Harris then analyzed the data from July 3rd, the last day Gary was seen alive. 2 of the grandkids had asked Melody if they could spend the night with her.
Melody says, how about the following night? And, in totality, she's at home and she stays at home. No real plans on the night of the 3rd. And based upon statements made, she's always willing to have her grandkids over, especially they're in town. It was definitely odd that she did not want the kids over that day.
There is also data supporting Chris's story of visiting Gary at the farm with his daughter. He was the last person to speak with Gary on the phone.
So this call that's 1 minute and 43 seconds in duration at 3:51 is the last time anyone spoke to Gary on the phone. And then Gary attempts to call Chris back at 3:53, and that is the last proof of life on Gary's device.
Phone records then indicate that at 5:16 p.m., Melody texted Amanda to let her know that Chris and his daughter had left. Investigators believed Melody was now alone on the property with Gary.
And immediately at 5:17, Melody begins talking to Rusty on that burner phone, which is not odd in their relationship. They have a lot of phone contact. But then we get into a little bit of a break of communication on both phones for a period of time.
There is nothing for nearly 4 hours, from 5:36 p.m. to 9:26 p.m. Location data showed that Melody's phone stayed at the main house. No outgoing calls or texts were sent at that time to anyone. As for Gary's whereabouts,
Gary did have an Android phone, a Google device, and he did have location services turned on. So this is a very precision location of the handset itself. It helped us create a timeline for Gary's proof of life.
A couple of hours after Melody's phone went silent, data showed Gary's phone leaving the farm at around 8:30.
His device moves to this location, and it appears to be a restaurant.
Harris pointed to a map displaying Gary's movements.
So this is leaving the area of that strip mall restaurant and headed back into the area of the home.
According to his phone, Gary arrived back home at 9:34 p.m.
Melody is also in the area of the home.
Once Gary made it back, Melody didn't contact anyone for about an hour.
It's my belief that the homicide took place between 9:34 p.m. on July 3rd and 2 a.m. on July 4th.
There's a little more than an hour between the time Gary arrived home and when Melody called her son Scott to tell him that the horses somehow got out.
The call with Scott at 10:52. This, to me, is Melody asking Scott's whereabouts in order to know when is someone going to else arrive at the farm.
At that moment, Scott was on his way home from the lake. When he arrived, Scott said he saw the glow of the burn pile fire and called Melody.
It does not appear the phone is answered. Scott's phone location at this time at 11:30 does cover the area of the house. And then Melody calls Scott back at 11:34. So between 5:16 p.m. on July 3rd to 11:30 p.m., Gary and Melody are the only two at the farm, with the exception of the time Gary's device travels to the area of a restaurant.
Late that night, Melody was back on the phone with Rusty. Records show there were 3 separate calls. Lindsay discovered something fascinating.
So from January 2018 to July 5th, 2018, Melody and Rusty made contact 3,478 times on the phone. Only one of these 3,478 ever took place after midnight, and that was on July 4th, 2018.
This is the call between Rusty and Melody around 2:30 in the morning on July 4th. That same one Rusty told police about in the days after the killing.
A theory could be they're discussing. They're coming up with a plan. He's helping her through it. Could he be telling her how to maneuver farm equipment? Could he be giving her advice? Could he be helping her through it mentally? We don't know.
Meanwhile, the data showed that Gary's phone was still inside the main house until the next morning.
The phone does begin to move.
The records investigators collected had Scott calling Melody at 6:12 that morning, telling her that he was going to come to the main house to grab the debit card. By 6:21 a.m., Scott was using the Wells Fargo ATM to take cash out to go golfing. Lindsay Harris said that Gary's phone data showed the device moved after Scott had left the property. Melody was now alone. Detectives believe she is the only person who could have been carrying Gary's cell phone.
The device moves from the area of the home to an area of the burn pile.
But then, more than an hour later, the phone moved again, away from the burn pile.
By 9:05 a.m., Gary's phone is in the area of the home.
Harris's explanation for that?
Someone must be moving it.
Let's take a moment and add this all up. Outside the main house, there was blood evidence tying Melody and Gary to the tractor and the RTV, bolstering the theory that Melody used those vehicles to move her husband's body. And there was the cell phone data, including how Gary's phone moved the morning of July 4th, when Melody was the only other person home. Earlier that morning and the night before, Melody had also made several calls to her lover, Rusty. She also called her son, Scott, after a long period where her phone was completely inactive. Nearly 12 months later, on June 18, 2019, Melody Farris was arrested. She was charged with murder with malice, felony murder, aggravated assault, concealing a death, and making false statements.
I didn't do this. I would promise you on my life I did not do it.
After Melody's arrest, Rusty recanted his damning burn pile story. That reversal could have helped Melody.
This is a prepaid call from an inmate at a correctional facility.
But she still wasn't happy.
You all right?
No.
What's wrong?
Well, back a long time ago, I said stop talking.
Right.
I haven't done anything.
I know that, darling.
But somehow or the other, what you keep talking about, you're going to single-handedly hang me.
I have not said anything other than the one time, and I retracted that, and they failed to show that retraction. I haven't said anything else. Because there was nothing else to say. There wasn't even that to say.
Melody seemingly knew how damning Rusty's original statement could be. You heard her warn him, "You're single-handedly going to hang me." She asked for reassurance that he wasn't going to switch sides again.
I'm making sure that you understand.
I do, baby, but there's nothing. You didn't do anything wrong. I haven't done anything wrong. So there's nothing wrong with us talking.
I understand that.
After a little more than 5 minutes, the two lovers, now separated by jailhouse bars, ended their call.
I love you.
I love you.
The years-long romance between Rusty and Melody, combined with her failed marriage with Gary, morphed into what Detective Hayes considered her likely motive: killing was the only way that Melody could profit.
Through the investigation, we determined that she was the beneficiary to everything. Through marriage, she's entitled to everything. As long as, if Gary's dead and she's alive, it's all hers.
Hayes also thinks the breaking point for Melody may have been all that money that Gary was giving the kids. We talked about it during a ride-along.
She was angry at all the children except for Amanda because they were taking money from Gary, which was her money. And she knew that her bank account was dwindling away because of them. She knew once Gary was gone, the money stopped coming in.
Is there any evidence, Detective, that Gary had said to her something like, "We're done, I'm going to end this marriage once and for all," and that could have precipitated an attack?
There were some text messages between them where he, had addressed her spending and told her he was taking action to make it stop.
But you believe that Gary had made a decision in this marriage that he was going to cut his wife off from his funds, completely isolate her so she would not have access.
I do believe it, that he had already taken action to cut her off.
And so in her mind then, she's thinking to herself, I'm not going to have access to this money, and I have to kill him so that I can maintain it, I can take over these funds.
Gary was what was standing in her way between her and the money, and her life with Rusty.
Murder would have left Melody with the best of both worlds. And do you believe that she and Rusty were planning on getting married, perhaps?
Absolutely. When we spoke with Rusty, and he let us have his phone, and we found where he was searching wedding bands recently.
Now, Melody told us, well, no, we weren't going to get married, but do you think she's telling the truth?
No, I don't think she's telling the truth. I don't think she's told the truth the entire time.
Even if Melody and Rusty were planning to take the inheritance and start a new life, the data showed Rusty was not on the ground with Melody the day Gary was murdered. His location data proved he was in Tennessee. Melody pleaded not guilty. She now had to decide if she wanted to testify in her own defense and watch as her family's secrets were shared with the world.
The most heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching thing I had ever sat through in my entire life.
From 48 Hours, this is Blood is Thicker, the Ferris wheel produced by Sony Music Entertainment. I'm your host, Peter Van Sant. Judy Tygard is the executive producer of 48 Hours. Original reporting by 48 Hours producers Betsy Schuler, Ryan Smith, and Hannah Vare. Jamie Benson is the senior producer for CBS News Podcasts, and Mara Waltz is the senior story editor. Recording assistance from Alan Pang and Alana Myers. Special thanks to CBS News Podcast Vice President Megan Marcus. Blood is Thicker was written and produced by Alex Schumann. Stephanie Serrano is our editor. Our executive producer is Shira Morris. Our associate producer is Zoe Culkin. Theme and original music composed by Hansdale Shee. Cedric Wilson is our sound designer and mixed the episodes. We also use music from Epidemic Sounds. Fendel Fulton is our fact checker. Our production manager is Tamika Balance Kolasny. If you're enjoying the show, be sure to rate and review. It helps more people find it and hear our reporting. Thanks for listening.